All right, folks, we're back. We are back for part 2 of our discussion about the real estate market here in Chatham County with Eric Andrews of Realty World Carolina Properties. People want to reach you. What's the best way to reach you? Phone, email?
Phone, 919-542-0523.
Okay, that number again.
919-542-0523. That's our direct office line.
And you have real people here.
I have real people here. We don't do the rosy virtual assistant anymore. That did not go over well.
No, they're real people here in Pittsburgh. They're not overseas either.
Right.
This is the discussion we've had, I think, just about every time we've met, and that is, what are regular families in Chatham County experiencing?
They can't afford houses here. Regular families can't afford houses here. And for many, many years, one of the things I used to say, and it was the used car salesman real estate 101 catchphrase was, it's cheaper to buy than rent. Nope, it's cheaper to rent than to buy right now, and that's not good for good for the economy. That's not good for building community.
It's not good for developing your family's wealth portfolio.
No, that is in America the greatest means of families accumulating wealth is equity in their home, and we do that because we're paying the bank back, and we do that because we make improvements to the property, and we do that because it appreciates. And when you rent, I feel as though you're literally burning that rent check every month or whatever. I realize some people are in the situation where they have to do it. This place is so expensive. There are a lot of people who have to do it. We have something that's called a gross rent multiplier. And one of the things in Chatham County right now is, as an investor, you can't buy a home and work the numbers where it would cover the monthly payment. So if you buy a $400,000 home right now, and the mortgage on it, you put something down or whatever, and the mortgage on it is $3,200. You can't rent that for $3,200 right now. So you're going to be renting that for maybe $1,800 to $2,200. So you're upside down on that and everything. So why would a landlord want to be a landlord right now? The reason why you become a landlord is because you've owned the house outright for 20 or 30 years. Then you can afford to rent it. Or maybe you inherit the house from mom and dad, then you can afford to rent it. But your regular house rentals right now, you can't go out there and buy a house and have it be positive cash flow. The numbers just aren't working here. So
that wasn't true 10, 12 years ago. You could actually buy something.
You could buy something, the payment was $1,300, you could rent it for $1,400, you're getting your mortgage paid, and you got a little bit of extra for repairs or whatnot, taxes, you got insurance, you'd be okay, but no, certainly not. You can't do it now. And then just our baseline affordability right now, the average family income in this county is between $60,000 and $70,000. That's going to put you in like a 280, 320 house. We don't have any 280, 320 houses right now. We just don't have them. So workforce housing is so extremely important to me. I mean, I can't believe what a Norman Rockwell life I led when I was a teacher and a coach here, because my first year of teaching, I made $19,000, okay? And by the time I left there, I was probably, in the high 20s, low 30s or whatever. Well, I went to the grocery store and I saw my students and their parents in the grocery store, and we all went to the same grocery store and everything. Where is a teacher going? I mean, I know they make more now, but not much more. And a lot of the teachers, when I first got my real estate license, I was helping a bunch of teachers at Northwood, but even then they couldn't afford Pittsburgh. So we were selling to them in Carthage, Siler City, and Sanford. Yeah, a lot of them. And even those places have gotten super expensive. And then we have the same thing in Chapel Hill. Those nurses, firemen, firewomen, police, and the town workers in Chapel Hill, a lot of them are having to commute from Sanford and Siler City. So, just because they're all expensive. It's so expensive right now. So very few families are making enough money to buy a house. So, we have the high tech sector, we have more PhDs than anybody in the country, and these people are making good money, and so they're like, they can buy the new constructions for however amount.
So let's take that figure you threw out earlier. I think it was 700K.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm a average family, how much would I need to be making to be able to afford paying for that 700K? Assuming I put what, 10, 20% down?
Yeah. But even that, okay, so you're gonna put 70 to 140,000 down.
Okay, so that means I need another five. I need to finance 540. So what do I have to make as a family to
140 family income? And I mean, I just think people have.
Can you do that on 140 family income? Because aren't you supposed to like take 2.5 times your?
It's between 3 and 4.
Oh, 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said the average here in Chatham County is 60 to 70, so you're kind of falling short.
Yeah. Yeah, that puts you in a 280 to 300 home, and I just told you we're averaging 725, so you can't buy half a house.
Earlier on in segment 1, you mentioned that the things that Wake County and Orange County offer that we don't have here in Chatham County, things like co-ops,
condos,
and that kind of stuff.
I mean, we have townhomes here, but we don't have the same number. We're doing a lot better. Pittsburgh's doing a great job in improving the infrastructure. I mean, it's funny, like here we are in the year 2025, about to be in 2026, and the issue that we have as far as residential expansion is the same issue that we had 100 years ago. It's sewer. And if you don't have sewer capacity, well, Pittsburgh's lucky. We have good amount of sewer capacity now. But it's still expensive. It's still expensive.
And if you don't have sewer capacity, then you have to buy enough land to be able to put your house on.
Right. Which in Chatham County, the minimum with water is 40,000 square feet, so just under an acre. And if it doesn't have municipal water, then it's 1.5 acres.
All right. So right there, that's going to bump you up.
Yeah, it's easily putting you between the lot is putting you between 100 and 200,000 right now for the lot.
Or maybe you can buy a lot and put a tent on it, but I don't think the
HOA won't allow it.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So that's not going to happen. Yeah, we mentioned workforce housing. We've mentioned that throughout this past year. Again, for folks that don't know, what is your definition of workforce housing?
Workforce housing, I think, is teachers, city workers, police, fire, medical.
The people that keep things going.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And they need to be a part of the community. They need to be living here. They shouldn't be commuting 45 minutes to get here and serve the community. They should be living in the community. It's hugely important.
All right, which brings me to my next question. I think I know what the answer to it is going to be, but are there still parts of the county where working families can realistically buy something?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some good deals in Siler City. A lot of people don't want to live in Siler City. I mean, Toyota's done a phenomenal job of increasing their plant and hiring workers. It blows my mind how few of those people live and work and commute to Toyota. They're buying property in Siler City. Most of them are living in Greensboro.
And this is the Toyota plant over in Randolph County.
Yeah, Liberty, that area,
right.
Pleasant
Okay.
Garden. Yep.
Well, I heard also and we're going to talk more about this later on, like Wolfspeed, most of the folks that were coming in for that decided to live in Greensboro versus Siler City.
Greensboro or stay in Durham. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we didn't have the boom in residential from the Wolfspeed people, and now we don't really have Wolfspeed.
All right. So we talked about new families. We've talked about workforce housing. How about the folks that feel, for lack of a better term, stuck, or that feel that they can't upsize or even downsize?
Yeah, we definitely have a stick in the spokes. Part of that is because of our interest rates right now. Depending on who you talk, I think the average that I'm seeing come across my desk right now is 6.25. That's the average what I'm seeing. And historically, that's a little bit lower than average. I mean, we're looking at a historical average of 7, so 6.25 is not that bad. But we got so spoiled, people are like, well, I remember 2.75, I remember 3.25. So those people that have the 3% interest rates are not giving that up because if they have to buy again, they're going to be at that 6.25% rate.
Yeah, so the rate's going to double right off the bat.
Exactly. And so we have a normal cycle of real estate. We have the new early retirees that usually downsize. Then we have the people that are after they downsize, they're going to some kind of assisted living. Okay. Then we have the first-time home buyers that are buying what the retirees leave, and then they have families and they get bigger houses, and then they start making money and they get bigger houses. And so you have this whole cycle of normal real estate, but because people are holding on to their 2.75 or 3.25, we don't have that movement. And then we have people coming in from other parts of the country, and that puts even greater stress on the inventory. And what's replacing that is that normal cycle is all the new construction that we have here.
I think back in 2024, we talked about 5 of the counties that most folks were moving to Chatham County from, and I think it was Durham, Wake, Orange, and I forget what the other county was, but
Mecklenburg,
and then there were two times Orange County got mentioned.
Yeah.
One was Orange County here, and one Orange County, California.
That's probably spread out a little bit more, but we still see a lot of California, we see a lot of Florida, and we're seeing a lot from the Northeast as well.
Well, yeah, I'm familiar with Northeast and California, but why are you getting folks from Florida?
Halfbacks. You never heard the term halfbacks?
I've heard of it, but I didn't think it was that prevalent around here.
Yeah. Well, they want to be closer to grandkids, and Florida wasn't everything they thought. I mean, still a lot of people moving to Florida. Florida is probably the state that's still getting the most growth and has the most people moving to it. But they have hurricane insurance concerns, and they have housing prices concerns there. So, and some people, we get a lot of people are just like, it was too dang hot. They didn't expect it to be that hot year round and everything, and so they come back to North Carolina, which is,
yeah, you get your seasons.
Mild, yeah.
You get your one winter storm or whatever. It's been down to like 29 degrees. I know because my dog, I have to walk him in the mornings. All right, so we talked a little bit about housing. Your specialty is dealing with land sales.
Yeah.
So what is going on with land sales here in Chatham County? What's the marketplace look like? Who's buying the land? Is it developers? Is it people, like you said, looking for a couple of acres to put a house on? What's the scoop on land sales here in Chatham County from your perspective?
Land in 25 was not as good as 23, but it was a little bit better than 24. And thankfully so, because our residential, most of my agents are residential resales. That's what they do. We have some that do some new construction. We have some that specialize in Wake County, some that specialize in Alamance County, but most of us are Chatham County residential, and those numbers are down. So the office has suffered with residential resales. Luckily, the land has been really good. I mean, I probably did about 10% better in 25 than I did in 24. A lot of that is because of appreciation. The prices have gone up. I mean, we were at 14, 15,000 an acre just a little while ago, and now I'm probably at 27, 30,000 an acre. So that's on the average of what I do. I specialize in entitlement contingency contracts. So I'll have a big piece of land. We'll have one of the big 12 national buyers say, all right, Eric, we'll pay that 30,000 an acre, but it's going to have to be approved for X amount of lots. And so that is a process. When I first started doing this, it would take 9 to 12 months. It's probably the most realistic right now is I'm going to have a 24-month contract, and there might be some extension provisions as well. So that's my area of specialization. I do like 5, 10, 15, 20 acre lots as well, and those are good to fill in between those big contracts, big paydays, but they don't happen as often.
Okay. So what type of land has been most in demand in 2025? Is it those big ones you were talking about, or the smaller ones, or what's the breakout?
Well, I mean, I don't do stuff that's too small, like very rarely will I sell like a half acre lot in Chapel Ridge. That's better. That's probably better with a new construction team or whatever. Those are probably averaging like 185 to 2.25 right now. My area is just raw, unrestricted land. So I'll probably go as small as 10 acres, and I go up to 200, 300 acres around here. But it's been all over the place. I mean, most of it is residential, agriculturally zoned, and people are going to buy it for some kind of residential subdivision.
We've talked about this before. Usually when you're dealing with the larger land sales, you do a walkthrough on the land. What's that process like? What are you looking for? Or if it's do you walk, how much of it do you walk, or what are you looking for when you're doing that walkthrough?
Well, I try to walk all of it, and or really, 200 acres, I can't walk all of it. So I do a boundary, and then I'll follow the water features, trying to make sure that we don't have too much wetlands. I'll look at the soils. I'll make sure that we don't have too much rock. I'll make sure that we don't have any old tires or old trucks or whatever. But I'm looking at its potential. More important than walking the land is meeting with the local planning departments or municipalities. I feel as though I have a great working relationship with the town of Pittsburgh. I feel as though I have a great working relationship with Chatham County Planning Department. I feel as though I have strong relationships with all those municipalities that surround Chatham County. So like if I walk into Morrisville, they know who I am. If I walk into Holly Springs, they know who I am. But there's some that are tougher than others or whatever. In order for me to figure out what a piece of land is worth, I kind of have to work backwards and say, what can we do with it? And that's how I'm doing a full evaluation. So it's really important to have those relationships with the planning departments.
Well, I remember having been on the planning board that the guys that were local, the ladies that were local to the county and were familiar with the planning board and the planning process for the county did a whole lot better than somebody who would come in from the county who thought they knew everything.
Right.
And you're just sitting there just internally rolling your eyes going, this is going to take a while.
Yeah, we have a great planning board with a bunch of people that bring unique perspectives, but they're not going to tolerate a developer that's not prepared, and they want their questions answered. So they have high expectations, and if if that developer or engineer or attorney says, gosh, I don't know, that's not going to cut it with this planning board. They're not putting up with that.
Yeah, I still remember those days. All right, folks, we're going to take another break. We're going to go into part 3 coming up.